What up? What up? What up? Thank you so much for tuning in to this 11th episode of the Backwards K Baseball Podcast. My name is Chris Asbrock, and I'm your host tonight. And as always, I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Scott Kaiser. Scott, my man, how you doing, buddy?
Esteemed. It's not often I get called that. I'm doing great, Chris. How are you doing?
Well, apparently I've been drinking. To call you esteemed is, saying something already.
It's high praise. High praise.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I figure I pump your tires a little, once in a blue moon. Hey, gotta do what we gotta do.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
How was
no
vacation, my man?
Fantastic. It was much needed. Much needed. But, batteries refreshed, Now we're back home. Happy as hell. What can I say?
Oh, must be nice. Must be nice.
Well,
I'll go on vacation, but it's not till the end of summer, unfortunately. So,
yeah.
You fancy pants with your beginning of summer vacations.
I wouldn't go that far. It's just when we could get everything. It's when we could get the house, reserved. That's all. That's how it was.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I don't know. God only knows when I would go. But, here we are.
Well, you ready to talk some ball?
You know what? I am. First off, I do want to say
go ahead and toot all of your own horns, my man. I'm gonna give you the stage.
Dude, I have to, man. I have to.
No, you do. Go for it. It's pretty big news, man.
Yeah, this means a ton. The Mason Comets, the good old 45040. Mason captured their first state championship in the program's history. That's the 88-year history. As a former alum, player, coach there, means the world to me and what they were able to get done. This team was 17 seniors on it. They got some dudes on there. Jake Hanley, Michael Belo, Bryce Brennan, Alex Kaling. I mean, you name it. That's Mark Rutherford. That's just, I'm going to forget names, but everything that Coach Bly has done, I was there, and during his very first year coaching, he was the JV coach during, I want to say, my junior year there. He came over to help the varsity team. And from then on, it was, I've known Coach Bly, since 2000, I would say. And he took over the program 10 years ago from legendary Coach Ken Gray and, led them to their very first state title yesterday. 8-1 victors over Twinsburg in the state final in Akron yesterday again. Couldn't have been, it means a lot. I've been out of Mason for 18, 19 years, maybe 20, hell, I don't know, but forever. But, Mason back then, that's, the whole 45040 mantra that Coach Bly has done. You play for your community, which is so true, especially in high school sports. You're playing for your community, and that's what this team did. And so it just means a ton, to see them, bring home glory. And it was awesome. Went there yesterday to check out, the reception back and everything like that. And then, met up and, with the coaches and some of the parents and staff and everything like that for a few daddy pops afterwards. So it was awesome. But yeah, I just want to give a huge congratulations to, to everyone over at Mason. I mean, I couldn't be happier for him. So I am working to get Coach Bly on the show. Hopefully we can do it next week. I know he's pulled in a ton of different directions today, so hopefully we'll be able to get him on next week. So that's the plan. But again, I wanted to start off. I couldn't contain it. I'm just super jacked, and congratulations. So I just want to get that off my chest there. And,
Dude,
a little proud moment.
I was just gonna say that's cool. The school that you played for and have were able to coach at and have so much history with. That's really awesome that they were able to do that. And I did love that story that all of those kids grew up there and had the chance to, obviously, with in Cincinnati they've got some pretty big time high school baseball programs throughout the city, and they can pull kids from all over the place if they want to. So it's nice to see that those kids grew up there, wanted to play there, and were able to build that program up and play together through all of those years. So that doesn't happen very often. So.
No, it doesn't. And that, and that's the hard part about, when you're going up against the Catholic schools and everything like that, they're able to get, like you said, anyone who lives in the Archdiocese of Cincinnati can go to the Catholic schools. So we would. I mean, I just remember we lost a few kids to Moeller and to St. X, and I mean I remember that. So it's always been, and my whole family, my whole dad's side of my family went to Moeller. So it's not like, I was the only one. My brother and I were the only ones that went to public schools, and on that side of the family. So, and it's just, like I said, and for those kids to stay home and play at Mason, like you were saying, Scott, is it's awesome. And sometimes that's all it takes, and to show that you can win. Here you don't have to be one of the big name schools or anything like that. I mean, Mason's huge, obviously, but my
Sure.
God, when I was growing up there, man, it wasn't big at all. Like I remember when half that shit around there was all cornfields. I mean, it's like so funny to think. And Scott, I've told you this before. Where we live now, that's where we are now is Mason when I was growing up. So it's
Right.
So but again, had to get that off my chest. It was just really cool. So huge shout out to the Mason Comets, the 45040, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, congrats to you and them and everybody involved in that. I see we already have a couple of questions in the comment section. And before we jump into the show, I actually want to get to them because they're pretty solid. Robert Taylor wants to know, if we were drafting a team from scratch and had any choice we wanted with the first pick, would Bobby Witt Jr. be your pick? Why or why not?
Damn.
I'm gonna let you go first on that one. That's a solid question, right?
That is. Oh man, I'm trying to think if there's. I would say if it's going to be a position player, I would take him. Pitching wise, I think pitchers are a whole different animal. So I'd say we do those separate if we're going to do something like that. But if it's a position player, Bobby Witt Jr. would be my guy. I freaking love that kid. I think just what he does. In an extremely, important position. I mean, outside of, you've got your big stars, but I just think, like Ohtani's older, Soto, he's still super ass young. Now I think about it, but I would say, it would be, I would say Junior, Bobby Witt Jr. or even, shit, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say because that's what I said originally. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, you'd be right to stick with that original answer because I don't care if you throw in pitchers or not. I'm going to take Bobby Witt Jr. number one in a draft for that. You mentioned it. He plays one of the most important positions on the field up the middle at shortstop. He's got speed, youth, power. I don't care about the superstardom aspect. He plays in a city and a franchise that's not going to come just because of the media market. So that means little to me. Those who know ball, he's one of those type of players where it's just like, regardless of the fact that he doesn't play in a big market, if you know baseball, that Bobby Witt is at worst one of the top 3 players in the entire game. But I would definitely take him number 1 overall in any type of draft if you were just picking everybody from the pool. Pitchers are too risky, and while there's plenty of great players across the league, you also have to factor in the fact that he's never had any type of injury history yet. So he's avoided that.
Knock on wood. Don't screw this up, dude.
No, I'm not trying to jinx him. I'm just saying.
I know, but I don't want you to.
When you start thinking about other players in the league and trying to.
Durability-wise, yeah.
Right. It's one of the factors that I add into it. And since he has, not suffered anything and hopefully doesn't, that elevates him over some of the guys that could be in the conversation in that same spot. So definitely Bobby Witt for me. And Robert also has a follow-up question. He wants to know, who would we consider the Caitlin Clark of Major League Baseball? I don't know how to answer that one though.
I don't know either.
I don't know that there's anybody polarizing at the moment, and baseball players tend to be devoid of controvery in general.
Yeah.
There's not too many things that happen in baseball where, egos are involved, or it's not usually about one player. So the whole diva thing and or anybody getting jealous, I don't know that there's a comp for baseball because you don't usually have anybody that. I mean, the closest thing that you could compare, and there wasn't that animosity at all, would be in Ohtani coming in and being
Oh,
the fact that
yeah.
he got so much attention for doing both, for being from Japan. Like he came in and immediately all of the accolades and attention was thrust upon him. I'm sure there were quite a few guys that were bitter about that had already produced, but if there were, it never raised to the level of the Caitlin Clark hate. And I also, also it's just a different personality where, Otani's a little bit quieter. So not that Caitlin Clark is loud, but he's so abnormally quiet when you're talking about a superstar level player that, again, there's no animosity that could have been built just based off of his own words or anything like that. So I don't know that there is a comp for Caitlin Clark.
I was going to say, I don't think there is. I mean, there's a couple players that could not rise to that, but like, I guess have some comparables. I would say Javi Baez, in terms of like the hate part of it. Even Yadi Molina.
A-Rod probably.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
The closest thing we've had recently to somebody like that who's real.
I mean, Trevor Bauer could be one that I think.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just, like you said, it's a whole different ball game. Like baseball, like you said, it's completely different than any of the other sports. Like these guys aren't, like exuberant or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, like even when you have like all the attention paid, where like like a Skenes, he comes in. I mean, he pitches 1 day a week. Pitchers don't generally have a mic put in front of them all that often, outside of that 1 day a week. So it's hard for even a guy with that much attention paid to him on 1 day a week to make an impact like that. And then, a Bryce Harper is the next closest comparison where you talk about somebody coming in with an amazing amount of hype who was coming right out of, the lower levels from America. And I guess there was a little bit of animosity when Bryce came up. Little guys were bristled at how hard he played, and he was a little bit brash when he came into the league. But again, it never got to this level. It was much lower levels, and that kind of got squashed out really quickly. It was more just the fact that Bryce went 100% every single time, and maybe some instances where he didn't really have to. So.
Well, that's very true. Yeah. But other than that, it's tough to even come up with a comparable on that one.
Well, and last one from Robert. He wants to know, all things considered, does Bauer deserve another chance in the major leagues? And you and I have kind of touched on this before and discussed this privately. I think we talked about it on the show a little bit, but I mean, all things considered, Trevor Bauer, the baseball player, definitely deserves another shot.
Yep.
Trevor Bauer, the human being and the person, is another story, and whether or not a franchise would ever take that on is pretty much nil. I don't think that there's any team in the league that will take that on. Just too much PR backlash. And I would say if Trevor Bauer lived 30 years ago, Trevor Bauer would be playing in major leagues. But the era we live in now and the social media world we live in, it's just not something that's going to happen. So while ability wise and just based on the situation, he maybe deserves a chance to play just based off that, but personality wise and the human being, I'm not so sure. So the league pretty much is decided as such.
And it sucks because I think he's, what he provides on the field is phenomenal. I mean, he's proven that. But again,
like he's an absolute talent for sure.
Yeah. But in the clubhouse, I've heard that he's kind of a pain in the ass, and
not worth it. And then the juice.
And then you have everything else on top of it. Yeah.
Right. That's what it ends up being. It's just like, no matter how talented he is, he comes with so much baggage that, there's no team that's going to risk it. And the only teams that would, they don't want the bad PR that comes with it. So,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation on that, but it is what it is.
But thank you, Robert, for the questions. Those were good, solid way to start the show. So, should we take it off from there, my man?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll let you lead things off.
Well, we had a couple MLB debuts again for two young gentlemen. Hurston Waldrop for the Atlanta Braves, the former University of Florida pitcher, who actually we saw in the College World Series last year, made his debut for the Atlanta Braves this past weekend against the Nationals. And oh shoot, I just lost. Let me see. Hold a second here, and then oh man, see, this is what happens. My God, Cade Povich was the other one. I'm sitting there and I had the lines
okay.
up.
Oh, okay. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, wait a minute. I lost where you were trying to go, so I wasn't sure where
Yeah.
you were transitioning to. I couldn't assist
Well,
there. My bad.
I touched it here, like I touched my, the box score, and it shot off, and I'm like, oh crap. Yeah, and then Cade Povich for the Baltimore Orioles made his debut against Toronto, and both of them didn't go well. Like you said perfect early on. It went well until it didn't. You know, it happens. Unfortunately, we've seen it numerous times already this season. Not everyone can be, have a Paul Skenes like debut. It's just, it's not in the cards for everyone. Some of these guys are, they're going to get roughed up. They're going to get the Jack Leiter treatment, and that's what happened. And unfortunately, it is what it is. Again, it's part of the game of baseball. That's the beauty of the game of baseball. Is some of these guys who are coming up, they're going to run into major league hitters, and guess what? Major league hitters are pretty damn good. You know what? They're usually a lot better than guys you're going to face in the minors. So, unfortunately for them, that's I was part of it, but. You're the Braves guy. What were your thoughts on Waldrop's debut? I know when you sent me the message that he was coming up, I was jacked because I love Hurston Waldrop, and as soon as they drafted him, I said, "Dude, you've got yourself a good one."
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I was going. I'll get to Waldrop in just a second because I wanted to start with Povich just in terms of the fact that he pitched first, and I also got to watch that game, and they were both very similar. They did the classic rookie, MLB debut thing for pitchers, I guess, is that everything started off fine. They went through the order one time, and then almost immediately, starting with the leadoff hitter for, getting back to the top of the order, things went south. And I think in Cade's position, I think he had given up a hit and then a walk, and then Vladimir Guerrero hit a 3-run homer, and the game basically was over. Everything spiraled from there. Waldrop did much the same thing where everything was fine. He gave up, I think, a hit, a walk, and then Kyber Ruiz hit a 3-run home run, and everything spiraled downward from there. So they were very, very similar in that they were almost like Groundhog's Day imitations of each other. Just very, very typical when you see guys come up, that first time through the lineup, a pitcher has the advantage. Guys have never seen him. You're just going off the scouting report. And in the cases of these two guys, known to be high strikeout guys. So you got guys on their toes, but after everybody gets in at bat and they kind of chat it up in the dugout, what they see that second and third time through is where you really, see whether or not a guy's got it. For the day, let alone for a debut. And both of them prove that maybe they need a little bit more time in the oven before they're ready. Flashes on both sides, though. I mean, you can see why they're highly touted prospects. The split finger for Waldrop is just unreal. Like, I mean, like getting guys to swing over the top. Like when Waldrop figures it out, assuming that he does and can hone his control, because that's really what got the best of both of them, which is what gets the best of most young guys in their debuts. This amped up, jacked up, trying to do everything perfect and just getting a little bit too the balls left over the plate. If he can get his control in order, he should be one of the good ones, because there's a lot to work with there. Saw some things that I enjoyed, but very short. I don't know how much more exposure he'll get, because Braves may have just used it as an audition. They're trying to figure out what they can do for that fifth spot while they've been rotating through everybody. And then for Povich, much the same. He's more of a struggle with control guy. earlier on in his career had kind of honed in on it before the call up, but you could see where he kind of reverted back to that same situation where struggled with his command, and against major league hitters, they're not going to miss when you leave it out over the plate. So a lot of refinement to be had, but both of them showed promise, and I could see where, again, at least Waldrop in his case, like, he gets that figured out, and the Braves may have gotten a steal considering he went 24th in the draft last year behind quite a few other guys. So I'm excited for Waldrop, but the quest continues in the Braves case of finding a fifth starter capable of filling in and sustaining while Spencer Strider is out for the year. It's some gigantic 2 times clown shoes to fill, and nobody that has taken the ball and auditioned for the role has run away with it yet. So we'll keep an eye on Waldrop and his future. Looks bright, but as of right now, still got a little bit more to work on and refine. So
yeah, it's just a matter of, like I said, these guys, you're going to get your shit kicked in usually on your first start. It's how you adjust in that second and third starts, and that's
sure.
just how it
and I mean,
is,
in Skenes' case, he pitched all right his first game.
Yeah.
Like based on expectations, it was just all right. And then in that second game, it comes out and it has a perfect game through, game through 6 innings, like it was nothing, and struck out the entire world. So, and that was against the exact same lineup. So both of these guys could come out and do the exact same thing. You never try to take too much away from a debut because there's all sorts of factors, and both good and bad pitching results for guys in their debut. So, again, you look for things and moments and stuff to get excited about, and not so much the overall results.
Yeah, because after, once they settle down, and like I said, the fact that you have, if you're able to get another start in after that, and, they've been there, done that at that point, you go from there and you continue to pick up, like I said, there's going to be little things that they do, like, okay, build off of this. Okay, build off of that, and just continue to, continue to keep it, like, go with what got you there. You know how to do it. It's just now it's on the bigger stage. You have an extra deck or 2 on the stadium. Hey, it's okay. It's
well, and in Waldrop's case, a southern boy. Grew up a Braves fan, as many of them do down there. So you're playing for your favorite big league team. A year ago, you're playing in the College World Series. Like, I can only imagine how surreal all of that is to be saying. And they do the classic cutaways every 2 seconds to his mom and dad who are in the stands, living and dying on every pitch. So yeah, I mean, it's to be expected. Like, the fact that they're even able to go out there and get any outs at all is kind of amazing when you think about all the nonsense and hoopla that goes around your first ever career start. But I imagine that start number 2 is much different, and things are much more calm, and you remember, oh, hey, that's right, it's still just baseball. So
exactly, yep, no doubt. Again, it is what it is. It's just,
but fun to see these guys come up, and fun to see these guys make their debuts again. Baseball has gotten much better about that over the past few years, and these kids, and it's an organizational thing. The Braves are much more aggressive about bringing up their guys than some other ones, but just league wide in general, more teams are more likely to bring up guys like this that 5 minutes ago seemingly were playing in college and now are in your living room watching them on TV playing Major League Baseball. So I think that's good for the sport, and it's good for the players really too, because it starts their service time, and they aren't sitting there wasting time in both their careers and with their arms, and in the pitcher's cases doing things in the minor leagues. So you get everything that you can out of your career, and the earlier the start, the better. The sooner you get paid, my man. The sooner you're getting paid.
And like I said, just the way, I mean, I've said it countless times on the show. It's just these guys are so much more ready for the show than in years past, and it's awesome seeing all this young talent, this influx of talent coming into this league right now is just awesome. And it happened with 2 more debuts this past weekend, so absolutely love it. Absolutely freaking love it. It's great to see for the game. But go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going
Oh,
to say, I was trying to read that Rex had asked, do we think he would have ever made the Hall of Fame? But I'm not sure if who he was talking about on that question. So I was just wondering if Rex could follow that up with asking or telling us who he thought could make the Hall of Fame. I'm assuming he's not talking about Trevor Bauer, because despite Trevor Bauer's talent, I don't think he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. So, he did mean Bauer.
oh shit. Okay.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't think
no.
so. His career wasn't heading that way. I mean, the Hall of Very Good. If he had continued with what he had been doing, his career was definitely on that trajectory. But yeah, I don't think he would have been a Hall of Famer regardless of what happened off the field.
Yeah. I mean, I think if he had continued his MLB career, there's a very good chance he could have headed that way, just based off his talent alone. But I think at this point in time, no, not a chance. But transitioning that, who else is not going to make the Hall of Fame?
Who's that?
Tucapito Marcano. He ain't making it either.
He is
Lifetime ban.
Another one of those news stories that dropped right after our show, practically. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, yeah, he got the old lifetime ban from Major League Baseball for betting. It looks like so. In terms of everything here, I'm going to read from the AP. He placed 387 baseball bets, totaling more than 150,000 in October 2022. And from last July through November with a legal sports book. Dude's only 24 years old, has 149 games of Major League experience, man. What are you doing? But in terms, though, I'm afraid this could certainly be the, I fear it could be a lot more normal. I don't want to say normal, but it's can be with the way sports betting is, I can see this being, more of a situation that we're gonna come across. I just think that's just the way we're headed with how how everything's going with with, like I said, sports betting and just the legalization of it seemingly all over the country. But yeah, it sucks. Another one bites the dust. And this kid, I mean, he has talent. Started off with the Pittsburgh Pirates and then was with the San Diego Padres. And yeah, there we go. That's it. Boom, done and dusted. He is banned for life now. Got the Pete Rose treatment. So again, happened again shortly after the show was over, and it was like, oh man, we never even got a chance to talk about it. So this is really it. Scott, what were you thinking about it when you saw it? Because it was like, damn, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, just as shocked initially as I'm sure you were to see the fact that somebody got suspended for life, because it always kind of stands out when you see lifetime ban. Doesn't come across the text screen that often. But then when you hear some of the details, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Like, I mean, you got to be major league stupid, because it wasn't just him. I mean, he got the lifetime ban, but then there were 4 others.
Yeah,
that got suspended for various lengths of time, like a year or slightly more. And these poor guys were betting like on average like a couple $100. Like there wasn't a whole lot of money that they were betting, even less that they won. In Mercado's case, God, what was the number? Because I can't remember where I'd seen it originally, but he only had like a 2% win total or something like that. Like, the man was historically bad at gambling, and he just kept doing it. But it was in these, everyday Joe amounts. So threw away his career for like $1,500. The other guys, throwing away a year or two of their career for like $500. Just ridiculous nonsense. So I mean, it sucks. It's weird that it's a thing, because I
got it right here. Actually,
not often that guys get suspended for this. So
it says in its announcement, MLB detailed the bets alleged for each player. Marcano's 387 baseball bets included international games and 231 MLB related wagers.
Oh, he won 4%. 4% of his MLB.
4.3%. Yeah. So his wagers for 87,319 from October 16th to the 23rd, 2022, and from July 2nd through November 1st. 25 of those bets included wagers on Pirates games while he was on the team's major league roster. Though injured, he was receiving medical treatment at PNC Park last year. Marcano bet almost exclusively on the outcomes of games and lost all of his parlay bets involving the Pirates, winning just 4.3% of all his MLB-related bets. I mean,
trying to parlay the Pirates and just losing epically. Dude, hey, you imagine get that knock on the door. It's like your career's over for the equivalent of like a middle American wage at 87,000. Like that's how much you gambled away, and then boom, your career's gone.
I mean, I'm searching through this story, and I'm
off of betting Pirates on a parlay.
I know, dude. Like, man,
I mean that's
such a pirate thing to do.
That
is such a pirate thing to do.
That is something special, dude.
Oh, I know, man. I know. It's unbelievable. Like, unbelievable to think about. Yeah. It's crazy.
And then the other guys betting on games that they didn't play in, or, for teams that they didn't. It's just, oh, man.
Oh, I know. But, you can't make it up, man.
It's one of those things, though, where I don't have too much sympathy for these guys. They know the rules. They're right there. Everybody knows who Pete Rose is. He's the poster child for this. Everybody who's ever played baseball or watched baseball generally knows that, it's happened to one of the biggest players in the sport as far as getting banned. So it can certainly happen to Joe Schmo at the back end of the Pirates roster. So, guys can't be that stupid. And I do think you're right that sports in general, not just baseball, is going to see a lot more of this. I mean, we've already seen an uptick. Calvin Ridley in the NFL got suspended for gambling. You had I can't remember the kid's name in the NBA, but he got a lifetime ban just recently for gambling. There's a couple other guys in the NBA that got suspended. So I think, with the proliferation of gambling and across sports just in general, but with the leagues embracing it and the ease of doing it on your phone. I mean, these guys could place bets from the locker room.
Just like that.
I mean, it's not like it's hard. There's not easy access to it or anything. So it's going to take a lot of self-control out of guys and understanding that it's not worth it. And while, you may think there's some way around it or that you can get away with it for a little bit, ultimately losing your career over less than $100,000 when parlaying bets on a losing franchise is just not a winning decision.
I mean, that you kind of deserve everything you get. Like if that's how you're gonna bet, like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I just gotta be just a little bit smarter with it. I feel like, man, that's a rough go.
Yeah, that's a tough way to throw away your career, man. You can't afford to have that, man. You just can't afford to do that. It's embarrassing as hell.
It's tough to get another gig if you've been banned from the sport that you play.
Yeah,
it's not like you could just go somewhere else and sign up and play. It's like, all right, well, I guess I found a new career path now.
Yeah, not that easy for these guys, man.
I mean, and in Pete Rose's case, at least his playing career was over. I mean, he did it when he got banned lifetime as a manager. So, all right, like playing days, earning days are in the rearview mirror. This dude had his whole career, however long or short that may have been, right in front of him, and he's like, nah, fuck this. Let me gamble on these Pirates. I really think Mitch Keller's got it tonight. We're gonna parlay this one. We're gonna hit it big.
I don't think Mitch Keller's got it tonight. Oh shit, that's some good stuff. I love it. Oh shit, that is good. That is good, man. Well done.
Oh man,
freaking unbelievable.
Yeah, not something that you get to talk about every day. Not something that happens every day, and for good reason. But man, what a what a bonehead decision by all involved, but most notably
Yeah,
the lifetime ban part of it. So
yeah, that's dumbassery to the highest level. I mean, like you said, knowing what it is, man, you just simply cannot. I mean, gotta have self control on it, man. It's just throwing everything away, like for $87,000, man. Like it ain't worth it, dude. It ain't
sure,
worth it,
and
man. You know
should
what was
we?
worth it?
What the matchup between the Dodgers and their opponents this past week?
Yeah, dude, Skenes
Yeah.
versus Otani. That was the. I remember you texted me while I was on vacation. You were like, dude,
The prime matchup. Yeah, I texted you before the matchup started because the Dodgers went into Pittsburgh and they were facing Jarad Jones and Skenes the first 2 days they were there. And I said to you, I'm like, this is must-see TV because Glasnow was facing Jones in the first game. So irregardless of what Skenes had been doing since he had debuted, Jarad Jones had been lights out for the Pirates for weeks. And obviously Glasnow has gone to LA and finally been able to stay healthy and lived up to all the promise that he's had both in Tampa Bay and that everybody assumed that he would have in LA. So the stage was set in that matchup and it delivered. 1-0 between those two in the very first game. And you're thinking, not often that anybody's jacked up or that you're looking forward to a Pirates-Dodgers matchup, but that game delivers, and then Skenes versus the Dodgers game too. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Like after seeing Skenes debut, the next greatest thing is to see Skenes play against the best hitters. Like that's the next thing. It's like, okay, his debuts must see TV. Then, the first couple starts just to, get the novelty out of the way. But then after that, it's okay. When does he pitch against this team? When does he pitch against this player? How does he fare against that guy and all that stuff? So knowing that he was about to face the Dodgers, probably the best lineup in baseball currently.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
Face off against Betts and Otani to start the game. Indescribable, and then it delivered in the best way possible if you're a baseball fan. Skenes just humming them in there to start the game, blowing them past Betts and Otani. Like, unbelievably so.
I mean, you couldn't, like you said, you couldn't ask for a better, like a better situation. And, first guy you face is, Mookie Betts. Like, dude, okay, yeah, enjoy. And, then you got to face, okay, a Shohei Otani, a Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. Like, you name it, like, Will Smith. Jesus Christ. Like, it's not, that's not fun for any pitcher, much less a rookie who is, he comes with a ton of hype, but, just what he provides, man, is just incredible. And then that matchup, like I said, it's billed as Otani versus Skenes because those are the two big names, or two of the big names. And that's saying something when you have Betts and Freeman on that team. Like, it's crazy, but the matchup everyone was excited for was Otani facing off against Skenes. And what does Skenes do? Pumps him. 3 pitches over 100 miles an hour. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Go sit down. And then what happens? The next at bat, pumps him back, dead center on a fastball. And I mean, like, what more could you ask? Like, that is baseball. Like, that is why baseball kicks so much ass. Like, that is why, because you don't get that in any other sport. You just don't. And you get to see, like I said, Paul Skenes, who is one of the best young pitchers that we have seen come up in a long, long time, facing off against a guy who
a generational talent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's probably the best way to put it. And what happens? They got the best. They each got the best of each other, which is it's incredible.
With the best possible outcome. Like one, they get a strikeout and a home run. So each of them, maximize their outcomes against each other. Like, it's the exact thing that you hope happens, kind of.
The way it should be. That's the way it should be. It's like, and the picture, and I want to say Topps put it on a baseball card already. Was
of Skenes smiling after he gave up the home run. God, yeah, what a moment. Even he's fanboying about the fact, like, could you imagine you're Skenes and give up home run to Otani, but all you can think about is, I just gave up a home run to, again, a generational talent. Like, I struck him out on 3 pitches the first time, and this dude just came back and hit a home run off of me. Like, that's fucking baseball. That's why I'm playing this game right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, and just to turn around, it's, as a pitcher, you're going to get tanked. That happens. I mean,
right.
The funny part is, obviously, you and I, we coach together and we coach our boys. And I just remember when my son Kyle in our big game that we had got lit up in that one where that kid smoked one off of him way out in the outfield. And I looked at him, I was like, bud, you groove it down the middle, man. That's what's going to happen. Like, you're going to give up many more of these in your baseball life. Like, that's just how it is. And, he laughed about it. And then, you look and you see Paul Skenes there has Ohtani sends one, like I said, straight away center. And it's just, and all Skenes can do is turn around and just laugh. I mean, that's awesome. Like, that is why baseball kicks so much ass. Plain and simple. That's why. Because of moments like that.
Yeah,
it's true cinema, man. It's true cinema.
It was really great to see. And again, it's not often that you have matchups that you anticipate like that with, again, nobody's generally looking forward to the Pirates. And obviously they have these must-see guys right now. But generally these types of matchups, when they present themselves, they tend to disappoint. And just they're a letdown, or the guys don't pitch as well, or they would have been insignificant at bats. Or could you imagine if just Ohtani like hit a single and then rolled over a couple of balls? Just very boring ABs, nothing.
Like, oh, this sucks.
Right? Yeah, like just your ho-hum average ABs, nothing to write home about. And instead we got this intense theater in both games, and it doesn't get much better than that. So it's nice that we got both of those outcomes on something that was so highly anticipated. And then that led into the matchup of the weekend. And again,
yes,
I hated to admit it, and I hated to know that part of me was keeping an eye on what was going on in the Dodgers versus Yankees series that happened this weekend. And it's almost as if the schedule makers knew too, because it was a 4-game set, which you don't see very often. Obviously, these two teams don't play very often, so that's part of the reason why when they get together, they tend to be a little bit longer series, because they're only going to play each other the one home and one away. But the fact that they had a 4-game series at this point in the season for each team, respectively where they are, playing how well they have been, and to get the drama and the theater of the two historic franchises, and quite honestly, if you asked me at the beginning of the year what was the worst possible World Series outcome that could happen in 2024, I would have told you the Dodgers and the Yankees. There's not a matchup that I want to see less in the World Series than those two going up against each other. I take that back. The Mets and the Mets and Yankees would be the first. That would be the absolute worst. I can't do the Subway Series. I still don't even know what happened in the 2000 World Series. I refuse. But second to that would be the Dodgers and the Yankees. And unfortunately, this series delivered. The series was everything that you could have hoped for as a baseball fan, and that MLB could have hoped for, just in the fact that, there's a gajillion games played in baseball throughout the season, and it's very hard to create drama in series that matter, especially when two teams don't get to play all that often. It's even harder to sometimes with the drama, but obviously people had eyeballs on this one, going into it. And you could tell that the players on both sides were into it. It felt very much like a playoff series. And the outcomes were, such, they kept it tight in the first game, 2-1, and then Teoscar with his theatrics and hitting 2 home runs and a grand slam and putting things out of reach. And then we haven't even really talked about Luis Gil this season and what he's done for the Yankees, but that was another matchup that everybody was intent on seeing, was how well would Luis Gil, who's pitched incredibly coming off Tommy John surgery and just lighting things up for the Yankees in the best way possible as a pitcher, striking out the entire world himself. And for, I will admit, for a Yankees pitcher to be doing what he's doing, very quiet, considering usually if a Yankees pitcher is doing something like this, it's nonstop. You can't escape it. And I feel like as much as I hear about it as a baseball guy, I don't hear about it nearly as much as I would have heard about this like 20 years ago. Like
No, not a chance.
Did before was like, so the fact that he's doing what he's been doing and it's been kind of underrated and under the radar is pretty impressive.
Oh, 1000%. And it was one thing that I want to say Dan Plesac mentioned it on MLB Tonight, literally right before the show started. I was watching over, and he was talking about, his, I want to say it was like 5, Cy Young, guys to watch, and Luis Gil was one of them. And I was like, you know what? And then you sit back, and it's like, damn, you're right. Like a Yankee pitcher, flat out dealing like he is, and it's quiet, like you said. That's the best way to put it. It's happening so quietly. It's like, man, what the hell's going on here? But good on him. Coming off of Tommy John, it sucks. Seeing some of these guys, coming back from it, and some struggling, some aren't, and but this dude's flat out dealing right now. And if it wasn't for him, I'm not. I mean, the Yankees obviously would be well above 500. That's not going to change that. But it's just like, man, where would they be? If he wasn't pitching like he is right now. It's just, he's been really good. And again,
between him and Juan Soto, who missed part of this series because he's currently dealing with some type of forearm tightness. He had imaging done over the weekend and said he's been dealing with it off and on for the last couple of weeks, and it doesn't really affect him when he's not doing, or when he's doing baseball activities. It's actually when he's not doing baseball activities. So people were assuming that it must be some type of early onset of like carpal tunnel. But they did imaging and test results came back negative. So hopefully, Soto right now is playing through it, but he missed a couple of games of this series. But yeah, without him and Gil, this team would be as bad as they were last year. And last year the Yankees were nothing to speak of. Judge was hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
You had various other pieces that were underperforming or hurt similar, and it just did not come together. They were a very bad baseball team. Well, you add in a little bit of health, the performance of Luis Gil, despite the fact that Garrett Cole has been down the entire season so far with injury problems of his own. And I didn't think it would come together this well for the Yankees. It has, much to my dismay. There's always hope that things can fall apart, and I hope that they do before the end of the season. But right now, they are, one of the best teams in the American League. Although Rex says that the Guardians are going to the series from Cleveland, and probably my favorite comment of the night so far, because it's so easy to do. I've done it a time or two myself. Mike says Raj went 6 to midnight this series, although he means Rob Manfred instead of Roger Goodell, but it's easy to do because they both suck at their jobs. So I understood why Mike made that Freudian slip and went with Raj, because Raj was such the punching bag for the longest time, but Rob has stepped up in a way that we haven't seen in quite some time to try to take that throne. But yeah, I do believe that Rob was excited about the fact that this series was that it delivered in both performance and everybody tuning in. I'm guessing that baseball does definitely want that to be the World Series matchup, because God, I can't imagine all the nonsense that would happen with LA and New York. I wouldn't watch a single fucking minute of it. Yeah, I mean, like, I can guarantee you that I won't watch a minute of that World Series should it come to pass, but it would be very good.
Well, you're a dumbass if you don't. I'm just going to say it, dude.
That's fine. It's one less week of baseball in my life. I'm okay with it. I watch enough as is. It's nice to have a little bit of time back in my life.
Well, fantastic. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Let's be real. That is,
in all seriousness, when the World Series now gets to matchups that I'm not a big fan. Like last year, I didn't watch much of it. I tuned in very sparingly. It's just like I really do. By the time you get from beginning of spring training to the end of whenever Atlanta plays, whatever round or end of season, wherever that may fall, it's so much damn baseball and it's so much damn investment that by that time, I do end up kind of checking out regardless of who's in the matchup, because I'm just like, all right, I'm done. Like mentally, I need a little bit of a break too. So it just helps ease me into that needing a break if I see a matchup like Dodgers Yankees. Not happening. Not in my world.
Shit. I mean, here I am. I'm sitting here trying to like pay attention to you, but then I've got my eyes focused right now on the Georgia, North Carolina.
Can you imagine though the scenario I have to sit there through if it was Yankees and fucking Dodgers? I either have to accept that the Dodgers are going to win a non-Mickey Mouse World Series ring for the first time since 1986,
Jesus,
or I have to accept that the Yankees break their, mini drought, and I got to hear all those fuck nuggets come back into my life and start talking about how they got another ring and 28 championships. Like, honest to God, just stick a hot fucking needle in my eye and just end it. I don't want to deal with either one of those outcomes. I shudder at just the thought of Dodgers Yankees World Series.
Gun to your head, who do you want to win that though?
Well,
you have to
fucking beat the Dodgers. Like,
okay.
In my head, life on the line. I guess I'm going for the Mickey Mouse.
I guess shit. I'll go with the Dodgers.
At least I like individual players on the Dodgers.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Good. Now you're admitting it.
Yes. Well, but I refuse to root in any way, shape, or form for New York. I don't under any circumstances. This is when everybody was like, well, it'd be good for the city of New York after 9/11. I was like, first of all, Atlanta was playing the Mets. So I was like, fuck them. It's time to win some ball games. We need these dubs too. And second of all, in the World Series, when everybody's like, again, this would be great. I'm like, no, fuck that. Let's go Diamondbacks. Like, I don't give a shit. There's no circumstances on earth that'll get me to root for the Yankees. Okay. I don't give a shit.
You would root for the ISIS.
I would root for the Satans. I would root for the Satans playing against the Yankees. I'm like, well, this is what it's come to.
Hey, I guess
it could be the sake. It could be for the sake of humanity. Yankees win and we all survive. Evil wins and
you're looking. You're like, well, we've had a good run. That's done. Yeah,
humans have outlived their usefulness anyway. Fuck us. It's all done. I mean,
why not? Yeah.
And in fact, it would be the greatest way to go out. It'd be like, oh, the last thing I got to see as a human being is the Yankees lose.
That's a
great way to go out.
Man, hey, what the hell? Why not, man? I mean,
hey, I am very true to my brand. I refuse to budge.
I will say this: you are very you stand by it. Like there's no wavering with you.
Also, Mike wanted to point out that a hot needle in my eye wouldn't necessarily end it, just blind me. Depends on how big the needle is. I'm going to find a needle big enough. How about that?
I mean, oh, shit. Charlie Condon. The base is loaded.
He's got to get over there. Mike also saying that the trick question on that is that the Yankees are the evil team. But either way, again, I'm willing to sacrifice the entire human race if it means the Yankees lose the final baseball game in all of humanity. I'm okay with that.
And the worst.
Who would you root for in the Dodgers Yankees?
Oh, Dodgers all day, every day.
Okay, all right. I just making sure.
No, I'm with. I'm 1,000%.
I didn't want to have to question the rest of the existence of this show.
I mean, are you shitting me over that? I mean, seriously.
If you didn't choose your loyalties correctly, I
mean, come on. I mean, good Lord, Jesus. The scary part is
loyal to the brand.
Well, hey, you know what? Might as well be tits out for the brand. That's how we do this. That's how we do it here at Backwards Sky. Jesus.
What were you about to say, though?
I was going to say, the way you said that, like you were just so cool, calm, and collected. It was kind of terrifying, actually. You're just
saying what about the Yankees, or
no? But just how like low key,
okay with humanity ending. I would be.
Well, no, like that, but it was like everything after that. You're like, what, it is what it is. Like I just, it was just the way you handle like.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm getting older, so I'm just accepting finality more. And if there's certain circumstances that
you're way younger than me. Like what?
I know, but still, I'm just realizing that closer to the end than the beginning potentially. So hey, if I gotta go out, there's a few things that I need to check off the list, and the Yankees losing one more time before I bite it is one of them. I don't want it to be on the biggest stage though, but in a humanity-saving effort, like the true World Series.
Yeah, it can't be. Yeah, it can't be like in a game up in. I mean, I don't know.
Like you bitches had 27 rings, but you couldn't save humanity. How ironic.
You had one job, and you.
I was gonna say, as I vaporize out of existence.
Yeah, as you're gone, poof. You had one job and couldn't even get that done. Job, guys. Jackasses, I swear. I swear. Oh man. Well, you want to get on to the Reds? The Reds were on an absolute heater until they had.
The Reds picked things back up. I'll let you take it. It's signs of life. We're good to see.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, they picked it up at the right time, and at this, when it comes down to it, did they save their season? I think they very well could have. It started off, we did the show last week or last Monday, and at that time they were, they had won the night before against the Chicago Cubs, but that series before they took 2 of 3 from Chicago at Wrigley Field, and then they went on the road and swept Colorado in a huge series there because you got to build off that momentum, and that's what they did. They won 13-3, 4-1, and then 12-7. That 12-7 game was a Wednesday afternoon, and that was a game that the Reds continuously fought back. And then Jonathan India with a grand slam in the top of the ninth. Stuff like that was huge. And then they go on and they take 3 of 4 from the Chicago Cubs here at Great American over the weekend, which was awesome. I mean, they win 7 straight, and then they did lose the last, like I said, last game 4-2, and now you have 2 huge games at home now against Cleveland starting tomorrow night. But again, a situation where you have to, you've got to pick it up, and they did. And now they currently sit, I want to say, 3rd in the Central. Last I saw, I just want to make sure it's all updated correctly. They're 3rd, technically tied for 2nd, 6.5 games back of the Brewers. Milwaukee sits at 38-27. Chicago and the Reds both sit at 32-34, while the Cardinals are at 31-33. So each of those teams 6.5 back, and you get the Pirates at 31-34. They're a half game back of those other 3. So, all 5 teams are within 7 games, which, this division is it's crazy. And, if the Pirates didn't have the starting pitching that they do now, they certainly wouldn't be in the talk right now. But the Reds, again, with that young talent, with guys who are set to come back. Now, unfortunately, we had a couple injuries pop up. But overall, this team, I mean, they picked it up at the right time. And now, like I said, now you have a very hot Cleveland Guardians team coming into your ballpark starting tomorrow night. 2 games, at worst, it's got to be a split. At worst, ultimate best case scenario, you come away with 2 wins there, and you continue to move forward. But again, right now for the Reds, they picked it up at the right time, and it's much needed to, like I said, to save their season. Now they're in. Let me see here, based off of the standings, what it was looking at. Yeah, they are tied in the wild card. So they're, as it stands right now, it looks like they would be in. My computer would, here we go, wild card. If you will cooperate with me here. Everything, MLB, the website wants to go slow here on me, which is awesome. Jesus Christ. Well, there we go. Finally, it's going to load up. I was going to say, as it stands right now, the Reds are in the wild card. The Braves lead it 4.5. Padres. So yeah, it's one big ass battle. While the Cubs, they face, they go to Tampa starting tomorrow. So again, it's, perfect situation now. Like I said, the hard part of the schedule is done for the Reds. Now you can really start to focus on just playing baseball. You got, you're 10 days into June. pick it up here to finish the next couple weeks, get out of June, head into July, continue rolling the rest of the summer, and then go from there. But right now, huge 10-game span for the Cincinnati Reds where they've won 8 of 10. So good on them. That's exactly what the doctor ordered here in Cincinnati. So,
Mike mentioning that the schedule was a murderer's row to start the season, and at one point they had the most games against division leaders. Now it's time to feast in the NL Central. And he also never feels good about having Cleveland in town. It always ends up Cleveland sweeping here, and then the Reds splitting up their goddamn Ohio Cup curse.
That's Mike. You're spot on, man. It's how it never fails. That's just how it is. It sucks. But good teams get it done when it matters most, and that's what we think this Reds team is. I think they're a good team. Here's your chance now against a really good Cleveland ball club coming in. Like I said, you knew May was going to suck total ass, and it did. But, they did hold their own, and they didn't completely flounder the entire month. They stayed afloat. They did what they had to do. Now, again, it's lightening up a lot. Pick it up and just get the job done now moving forward. So, that was, great job by the Cincinnati Reds over this past week to win a good amount of ball games there. Get them right back in it.
Yay, team!
Yes! Love the enthusiasm, Scott. Damn, love it.
All righty. Well, before we get out of here, we started the show off with some questions, and Rex has one that's going to take us a little bit, but I wanted to answer it because I think it'll be fun way to end the show. But Rex wants to know, what lineup would we pick for a baseball version of Space Jam? So let's go on ahead and keep this like as simple as possible. We'll go position by position and each name it, and then we'll just do one starter. That way, we don't not trying to go through a whole starting five. A little bit easier to name just five players in the NBA version, but F it. We're gonna do all 9, and we'll throw in a DH for good measure, and then one starting.
We have to.
So who would be your catcher? Let's just go in the diamond order.
Oh,
I'm going Adley Rushman while you sit there. And
I was going to say Adley was. I was
way
too
Adley.
Long. Jesus, don't be an ass. Come on.
Okay, so we've got the same
Adley,
catchers.
Yeah.
All right, and where are you going with first base? I'll let you answer first sincerely this time.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'm going with Bryce Harper, although I still think of Bryce more as an outfielder and more as like this athletic guy. He currently plays first base, so I'm going to go Bryce Harper first.
I'm going Vladdy.
Fair enough. All right, moving over to there.
Second base, I'm gonna go Marcus Semien.
Okay, and I'm going to go with Jose Altuve at second base.
No, fuck
shortstop. I knew that was coming. Shortstop, who you got?
Bobby Witt Jr.
I was just going to say, we already answered this one on the show. If it's anybody but Bobby, it's the wrong answer.
The only other one you could do would be Mookie Betts.
Yeah, and I'm not going to put Mookie at shortstop or second because I don't. Again, similar to Harper, I just feel like he's playing out of position, but it's due to team construction, and he's a team guy.
The fact he's an absolute freak. So
right, yeah, like
I can do anything, yeah.
Right, Mookie's an all-around guy. I would put him in the outfield before I put him at shortstop.
There we go. Fair enough.
But okay, moving over to third base, who do you got?
Ooh, man, I don't know. You go first on that one.
Despite the fact that I could easily go Homer with Austin Riley, I'm gonna have to go Gunnar. I mean, Gunnar is doing big things right now.
Yeah,
he's got a very great future, and the idea of lining up Gunnar next to Bobby Witt Jr. is pretty intimidating there on the infield. So that would be my current go-to at third base.
I was leaning Austin Riley, but I think you've got me on. I love Gunnar, so I'm gonna.
I love Austin Riley. You're kind of splitting hairs, but I think just a shade younger and a shade more athletic in Gunnar.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him the nod.
Boom. Oh, you know what? I was going to say Matt Olson would have been one for first base. I was thinking of too.
And I thought about Matty, but Bryce Harper's just one of my favorite players for
I do love Bryce.
basically the time he's been in the league. So
Well,
no matter where
you can't go wrong with any of them. Now, okay, outfield. Do we want to do straight up positions, or do we just want to go three outfielders total?
Let's go 3 outfielders that way, because I mean, generally the outfielders you pick could probably be slotted in. I mean,
I was gonna say
you could, or you could figure out some type of configuration. So, do you have? Let's just go 1 and 1. So, who would be your first outfielder?
I'm gonna go Julio.
I'm gonna go Mookie because I can't imagine
Mookie was gonna be another one.
I can't imagine having a Space Jam movie and Mookie not being one of.
I know. Mookie was gonna be my other one.
One of the superpowers that one of the Monstars stole. So yeah, it would have to be Mookie. Who would be your second outfielder?
I'm gonna go Mookie. Yeah.
Okay. So your second outfielder is
Mookie. So I've got Julio and Mookie.
So Julio and Mookie. Okay. I'm gonna go Homer with Ronnie. Despite him being on the shelf, I'm gonna go with Ronnie on one of my outfield spots. Okay. So who do you have for your third outfield?
I'm gonna go way out of the ballpark on this one. Adolis Garcia.
Adolis Garcia, it's a solid.
I'm gonna go with the big biceps, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I was like, they don't have to steal his biceps because I mean, those things are gigantic.
Dude's a freaking beast. I love Adolis Garcia, so I'm gonna go with him. Yeah.
Man, I don't know where I want to go for my last outfielder. It's not gonna be Judge. You can get fucked. I wouldn't want him on my team or in my movie. Soto runs into the same problem because of the team he plays for, so he's out.
Soto before, if he wasn't on the Yankees, he would have been an error.
Yeah, which is, and in fact, I'll go to the team that he came from. I will go Fernando Tatis for my third.
Oh,
he got that platinum glove out there in right field last year. I'll go Tatis. And in fact, I would have Mookie in center field, Ronnie in left field, and Tatis out there in right field. That's how I line it up.
Can I make a change on that?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm gonna put Adolis on the bench.
Okay, all right. Oh, is Adolis going to be your DH? Can it be your DH?
No, Ohtani's going to be my DH.
Ohtani's going to be your DH.
There's too many guys I want. I totally forgot about Tatis. Dude. I freaking love Fernando Tatis, man.
So do I.
That dude. So yeah, oh shit, yeah. I'm putting Adolis on the bench.
We both have Ohtani as our DH, right?
You're a dumbass if you don't have Ohtani as
right.
DH.
So here comes the $1 billion question. Who is the one starting pitcher that you're choosing for that?
You know I'm gonna
I know you're gonna say Skenes.
Damn right I am. Right.
Oh man.
Second Marvin the Martian with this 103 mile an hour fastball, you little bastard.
Yeah, well, and I'm gonna go Homer again, despite health. If could you imagine the Monstars taking the mustache of one Spencer Strider? Like, I don't want to face that Monstar, so I'm gonna go Spencer on the mound for
dude. The stash game on our mound would be unbelievable.
It'd be pretty sick.
It would be nasty. It would be nice.
And Mike chiming in saying that Ellie would obviously be the shortstop because he's already an alien, which solid reasoning.
I was thinking him at third base because he's played there as well. And that's
interchangeable.
Because he's such a freak, but again, Gunnar is just
Bobby
Witt at short is
and I'm not picking anybody over Bobby Witt.
So. Yeah, I'm not either.
And then Rex saying that he would take Quan. So
I mean, I saw that.
It's even more. I was gonna say it's even more obscure than Adolis. Being a Guardians fan, understood.
I get it.
Great question, Rex. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That's a fun exercise to do because when thinking about the whole Monstars squad and NBA an NBA version of that type of team, like. I always thought it was funny that it's like you have the ones that are obvious, but then you have a Sean Bradley. So if you do the MLB version, well, it's like that's why I feel like I can throw in an Altuve because it's just like, well, it's not all like youth and like necessarily like that like superstar like that may have kind of passed him by, but I throw him in there just because like still a name that puts butts in the seats, right? Like,
well, exactly. Even if
people like you pissed off because he's on the team, like Altuve, fuck that guy.
I freaking love it. I mean, yeah, you gotta have one.
I love the idea that between both teams, not a single fucking Yankee. Suck it.
Well, yeah. Why?
All that money,
know ball.
all that money, and can't buy one team can't buy one player that the Monstars would take the powers from.
Damn
Sucks
right.
to suck, boys. Sucks
It does.
to suck.
I love it.
Oh man, do you have anything else for the week?
Yeah, I was gonna say Minnesota Twins unveiled the City Connects. What were you?
Oh, that's right, man. I forgot all about the City
Yes.
Connects. Like, let's talk about those ugly fucking. I mean, those jerseys for a second.
I don't think they're that bad. I legit. I don't think they're. I'm gonna pull them back up here. Which you. And it was funny because you're texting me this morning at 9:55. This is why Scott. This is why I love you. The picture that you had sent to is, I guess it was the official picture that they had come up with. Get the most amount of IL stints you can in one photo. ... Minnesota PR department, say less.
They went it's because they went. I was gonna say you can't see it, but it's like they went with the photo of Byron Buxton, the constant IL stint. Carlos Correa, who has been again a constant IL stint since he got to Minnesota, and then Royce Lewis, who love him and God hope he stays healthy, but just got off of his bajillionth IL stint in his very young career. So Minnesota, while they are their three most marketable stars, they're also the three people on that team that have spent the most time on the IL in the last 5-6 years on that team.
I mean, yeah, it's like
it's a hilarious way to show the City Connects jerseys, which again, not being able to see the picture, the jerseys are like a gradient yellow blue color, like they kind of look like Michigan, but they also have that sheen to them, like pajamas. And then they've got the North Star logo on the hat, which the hat's not terrible. And then, they got, it's like the M and the N for the Minnesota North Star thing.
I like them. I really do. I think
I'm not crazy about the colors. It's kind of jarring because at first view, it reminds me of the Boston City Connects, which when you didn't understand that it tied to the Boston Marathon, the first thought was, what the fuck is that? So when you see the Twins and you're so used to the red, white, and blue, and it's like seeing this yellow and blue. I don't dig them a lot. They're not the worst, but they're very, very far from the best for me.
I do. I like them. I don't think it's. I mean, I keep looking at that.
They're loud. They're loud.
But though, for them, I don't see a problem with it. Because everything they wear is so docile anyway. I'm like, why not for this? They're.
Yeah, I mean, it's not loud in a way that's obnoxious because we didn't. It's like the Dodgers debuted their second City Connects this week, and the team to have two. Yeah, well, and most of us want to forget because those are horrid as well. Names they look like the cover of a blueberry Pop-Tart. They've got these. It's predominantly white with these little red and blue specks throughout the jersey. Then they've got the name underneath, the number on the back. Just not a good look. I
don't like the name on the bottom.
It looks like they're trying too hard with them, and so not a fan of them. They should have just stuck with the Los Dodgers if they were going to bring these out.
Yeah, I didn't see too much issue with those, but again, I'm with you. I don't like the name on the bottom. I just think that's a little rough, but
yeah, it looks.
We've seen worse. Let's put it that way.
And it just looks too try hard. Like I said, it looks like something that teams in the '90s did to be hip. Oh, look at that. The name's underneath the number instead of above. Yeah, we're edgy. Nah, it just looks kind of stupid.
I mean,
not a big fan.
Yeah. Hey, plus the Dodger set already has you pissed off anyway.
Yeah, maybe they should wear them in the World Series if they get there looking like some fucking blueberry Pop-Tarts. Hey. Bet that'll go over well with the league.
As long as
check out one of our marketable teams. Yeah, I know. Although that would be funny. Highlights of the World Series ever etched into the conscious memory of baseball fans every year. The City Connect jerseys that look like shit beating the Yankees in the World Series.
it's par for the course, man.
I don't know. Actually, that doesn't sound too bad. Shit jerseys beat Yankees in 4. I like that headline.
See the headline now.
Yeah, you know what? It's not so bad. Not so bad. If it's not gonna, if the Braves are gonna fall on their face, and I do have to suffer the horrendousness that is LA versus New York, then that could be the headline.
Do you know what's even better? Is I just got the alert for the Sunday night baseball game coming up.
Was it
Yankees Red Sox?
Yep.
Because why not?
It's been about 10 minutes, so I knew that matchup had to be rolling back around.
I just looked over. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" God.
Yeah. Remember when that was a thing? Remember when kind of gave a shit? At least I do. Where it was like, oh, it's a Sunday night baseball game that I want to tune in for other reasons than my own team. It's like, oh, it's at least maybe something crazy will happen. Maybe there'll be a fight, or maybe the Yankees will get teed off on. But now it's like, I was just gonna say that matchup does nothing for me. There's nothing compelling about that matchup in the least, and yet I'm sure ESPN is still trying to bill it as one of the biggest rivalries in all sports.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, they have to.
Yeah,
freaking have to. God, it's atrocious, man. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going through the. I say, you have anything else? I mean, I've got outside of the College World Series starting this coming week. Other than that,
no. Congrats to my wife, who is a big time UK fan. UK making it to the College World Series for the first time ever. She's super excited about that, so that's cool.
Are you gonna watch?
I will, because I mean she was already trying to tune into the regional games and whatnot when they're playing in them. So yeah, I will be tuning into the World Series now that the teams and the field is set. So
they play Saturday at 1:00 against the winner of the game right now, Georgia and NC State. The shitty part about this is this College World Series field comprises of teams from 2 conferences, the ACC and SEC. That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I looked through it, and I kept hearing that stat about how Kentucky had never made it. I'm like, in that school's history, being in the SEC, you're telling me that not one damn time by even mistake the baseball program had never made it to the World Series? Like, that kind of fucking blows my mind.
Yeah.
I was legit floored. I'm like, they play in such a good baseball conference that you would have figured that just, again, accidentally you get the runoff from a lot of those schools from kids that, can't go to or aren't able to end up with the other ones that just want to still play in the SEC. I figure Kentucky would have had I know from, just watching enough college baseball that they don't have a historical program like that. But I figured that there was some part in their history where there was success enough.
Like you get on a run or something just to make it. Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, it's almost as crazy, but then on a slightly smaller scale in the high school thing, when you're like, oh, wow, Mason's first ever in 88 years, like having a chance. But it's much harder to do that at the high school level where you're not, at being a public school and all that. And you don't have any control over who you're bringing in other than the kids that move into the district or whatever, that grow up there, versus a program, like I said, like Kentucky. Like, it, again, equally as mind-blowing that they had never gotten there. But good for them. That's an exciting thing to make the World Series. I remember when Xavier made it there a handful of times over the last 20 years. It's a big deal. So
I'm telling you, in UK, man, they're going to be they're a fun team to watch. Like when their game plays really well in Omaha, so they're going to be fun to watch. Now I'm watching this game right now. This is the game 3 of the Athens regional. So North Carolina State is up 5-3 on Georgia right now. But I mean, so UK will take on the winner of this, but you've got North Carolina, Virginia starting it off at 1:00 on Friday. That's going to be freaking awesome. If you get a chance, watch highlights of the North Carolina West Virginia series this past week. Vance Honeycutt, this kid is a freaking freak, and he's going to be I've got him projected, I want to say, as a top 10 pick. I think I had him maybe to the A's. I can't remember how I had it. I got to look at the article I'm working on. But he walks it off on Friday night to give him the game 1. And it was, speaking of that, there's a home run. Damn. Oh, Alex Makarevich, freaking beast. This kid's a stud too. goes yard. My God, no, Alex Sosa just getting his 6th of the year. North Carolina State, that's a team you don't want to face. They're a pain in the ass, and they're giving Georgia all they want right now. But back to North Carolina, though, man. Vance Honeycutt, like I said, walks it off. The very next day, first pitch he sees, goes yard again. So this kid's nuts, man. He's out of his mind. Virginia is just a walking Omaha team, it seems like, each and every year. Tennessee, Tennessee's top team in the country. They're fun as hell to watch, taking on Florida State, who just lost their head coach, Mike Martin, former head coach, earlier this year. They're playing for something. Florida State's fun as hell to watch. Going to this other bracket, like I said, UK. It's going to take on the winner of this North Carolina State-Georgia series. And then Texas A&M and Florida. A&M spent, a good amount of time at the top, top of the rankings. And then Florida. Jesus, like I said, Florida was a team, like I'd said, should not have been in the tournament. Again, they shove it right at my hoop and make it all the way to Omaha. And they've got the best two-way player in the country, and Jack Caglione. Dude's a freaking nut, man. Like he's insane. So much talent, and it starts this weekend. And baseball fans, I'm telling you, if you get a chance, watch it. College World Series it's phenomenal, and there's some really good matchups, some really good teams, and some really, really good talent. And you're going to see next year in the majors. We'll be talking about.
Now, a year from now, we'll be talking about
we'll be talking about so and so's debut.
Making their debut.
It's insane. So it gets going this week. So I'm pretty sure we'll be talking about it. So can't freaking wait, man. I freaking love it. Love it, man. Gets me jacked up.
Well, we are only a few weeks away from the draft, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on all of that.
Yes.
I think that's going to do it for us for this week. That has been another show. For Chris, I am Scott, and this has been Backwards K Baseball. We appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for tuning in. You can find us where you find all of your amazing podcasts. We are on Facebook, Twitter, the Impact Sports Cincinnati Network, and of course, the Craft Brewed Sports Podcasting Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us. Thanks again. We look forward to doing this every week, and we look forward to checking in with you guys again next week. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you then. Peace.